Cats, Cops, and C4. Anne, family tragedy has killed the muse and exhausted me as I emotionally deal with this. No, Catherine says the moment they sit into the stall next to hers. I beg your pardon? The disguised Cenk asks. I knows who you are. This ain't the time for anything. I don't care what you want. Just leave me alone today, she says without even looking at them. Cenk begins, and she turns with an utterly furious look. Start your dumbass extradition process. I don't care. Today, I can't care. Scram. 2 conditions and we walk away without any problems. I'll even spot your meal, Cenk offers. The fact that Sir Philip has audibly mugged his handler back in intelligence and is telling him to do this is almost frightening. Catherine's eye twitches. What do you want? You agree to return tomorrow at dinner and tell me why today's bad. My old lady died this day, many years ago, and yeah, now beat it, she says, and he nods. Come on, Vera, we got a deal. Cenk says, I was so ready to pimp you out. It was going to be funny. Vera protests as she stands up with him. Well, we can't always get what we want, he says as he walks over to the counter. Hello, miss. My friend there's having a bad day. I want to leave her to it, but I'd also like to pay in advance for her. You know, lighten it a little without getting in the way. Oh dear, of course, the woman at the till says, and Cenk passes her a few Kutha coins. More than enough for Catherine to eat her way through the entire menu. So what can we get for you? The waitress asks Catherine even as Cenk leaves. Puff fritters, half Canador style, and a Mallorca, bottomless. Catherine says as the memories of the first time she had ever heard this order and the last time she had eaten with her mother washes over her. She doesn't push it away. She lets herself feel it. She'll figure out everything stupid and insane and inane and every other word that can be put to it later. Right now, she just really misses her mom. The next day, it's not really any better. The problem with opening up old wounds to make sure they don't fester is that it hurts and takes a time to heal up again. You ache for days at least. This time, the cop, the human, and the Takra are all together. And there's what seems to be a young woman and her son treating her ancient continuity following father or grandfather to a meal. There's a pause as she slowly walks over to join the 3 at the table. Her gauntlets are on standby and can be locked in place and ready to go in a heartbeat. But with what she's heard about humans, let alone what she knows about Takra, that heartbeat she needs might be a heartbeat too many. Thankfully, the tabletops in this place are loose enough to be used if she needs to. So what does the fuzz want with me? Olrath Spire and its legal code says I'm as clean as can be, especially with those lovely statutes of limitations, she asks. I know. We're here to talk about something else, Linda says. And what's that copper? Why would someone who understands the legal code as you do, runs the business the way you do, and knows how to lead the way you do attack a police station with so small of a prize at the end? Cenk asks. Really? You don't already know? She asks, and he narrows his eyes. Oh, relax, little human. This ain't a secret. At least not my secret, so I don't care. And the secret is? Vera asks. She's the biggest pain in the ass in the criminal underworld. If she's got nothing else going for her, she's figured out the perfect way to get most women on the wrong side of the law, foaming at the mouth in frustration. Few people like talking about her, and with good reason. She's a bitch. She hijacks plots, does long convoluted bullshit, full-on rob supplies and emergency funds all over the place, and uses other women for smokescreens so often that it's considered time to either turn yourself in and get off the suspect list, off Centris entirely, or openly go legit if you know she's working in the area. Really? Linda asks. Really? There are 3 major things about her. Catherine answers, holding up a hand to count things off on her fingers. She is reckless, and there is no prize she won't go for. She is disrespectful and has no limit on the depths she'll sink. Finally, she's so damned afraid of commitment that the moment it looks like there may be the echo of a shadow of a hint of consequence or blowback for her, then she goes wheeling off to another spire entirely. I know how and when to get the hell out of Dodge, but she dodges if you so much as look like you might look at her general direction. Everyone wants the bitch either in their pocket or in a pod on an intercept course with the nearest black hole. And where do you land? I'm the odd one out. I want her skull for a snack bowl. You know, something that the kiddies grab some candy out of. You're a mother? Cenk asks and she grins. Sure, why not? It's not like a career criminal doesn't have her entire life outside of breaking kneecaps and counting money, Catherine says. Still, you're focusing on Miss Big, right? I'm interesting and annoying to you, but you're really, really pissed with Miss Big, I'll guess. Good guess. Are you making a deal? If we don't catch you committing a crime, we won't start extradition. That's as far as it goes. You're out of our territory, but you're still a criminal. Linda says, and Catherine shrugs. Well, considering that you're here for information and not an arrest, that means you're proper pissed off. What do you know already? She's got 3 agents, an unnaturally tall Tret, a snake that stinks of blood, and a Pavarus that never speaks. She also recently cloned the daughter of a primal to do her dirty work in a series of brutal murders. You mean the big girl of the 7 tails? That primal? I sure as hell don't mean the giant moth on the other end of the galaxy, Linda states, and Catherine pauses to think before shrugging it off. Well then, you know most things about her. So here's a little something more. Her name? It wasn't pulled out of a hat. She goes for the big scores. Never a bunch of little things, never a few small laundered bits, and never anything that takes more than a few months. She's always going for the big thing right now. The bitch is paranoid, not patient. If she ain't walking away from the prize with Axiom Ride overflowing from her pockets, she's not even gonna bother going for it to begin with, Catherine says with a grin. Oh, hello again. Sorry it took so long to get to you. Old man Methuselah back there couldn't make up his mind. Then forgot and had to make it again. Twice, the waitress says, bouncing up. More puff shanks like you had yesterday? Oh no, Lanrex stew, extra chunky, although I will never say no to Mallorca. Doesn't need to be bottomless this time though. Catherine says. Well, now I'm curious. I'll have a Mallorca as well. Is it a drink? It is. You are, the waitress says, pulling out a scanner and her eyebrows go up. You're human, it's fine for you. Who's it not fine for? Well, I had to cut off your friend here near the end of her stay. In high enough quantities, Mallorca can be deadly. The amount is different per species. For instance, a slobe can't have more than 100 milliliters without risk. It just mixes poorly with their body chemistry. Also, I'll be having this, down to here. Double portions, Cenk says, indicating part of the menu, and the waitress's eyes bug out. I'm hungry. You're always hungry. I'm human, Cenk says, and Catherine looks disgusted. What? You eat enough for 10 people. Oh please, you girls use Axiom to stay alive. Me? I need calories, protein, and more. Cenk returns. So you clearly have a history with our mutually hated Miss Big. What's she done to piss you off? Oh, we're going to be here a while. There's a reason I only go for things like simple protection. Tried smuggling. Big got her grubby hands into it almost every time. I've lost more money to Big than some entire level C. What she's doing with all that credit, I have no damn idea, but I prayed for her to choke on it each time, which has proven fairly hard to me that the gods don't exist or don't care. You'd think someone like that would have already been whacked one way or the other. There are forces that you can't screw with unless you want to die in a hurry. There are, but until now, Big has been avoiding those ones. I'm young. Well, older than you, human, but still young by most reckoning. I don't have the raw muscle or brain power to hunt her down and nail her to the wall. Lady Rakaxa might, Vera notes. Bah, if she doesn't get an army of people doing it for her. Catherine dismisses. If she was really truly angry, she would have done something already. Right, look, we're trying to establish a bit more of a pattern for Miss Big, and Cenk begins before the waitress rushes back. I'm so sorry. I was so flabbergasted by the big order, I forgot to take yours and yours, missus. I'm so sorry, the waitress says, indicating Linda and Vera. Linda is passive, but Vera is snickering at the girl. The mother taps on the table, and her eyes flicker to the window where the table they're observing is reflected in. Her comrades understand the meaning even as they eat their food and babble among themselves. It was unsure if the target was aware of the infiltration or not. But the real question was, would the secondary target send anything to observe the area? She's reputed to be paranoid, so how long would she watch the people that clearly made a move on her? No better way to find out where Miss Big has slunk to than setting up nearly perfect bait and seeing if she bit. And to be honest, if Miss Glaze was outright trying to be spy bait, she couldn't possibly do a better job. Her meeting quietly with the police after trying to get leverage over the woman was exactly the sort of thing a hyper-paranoid would watch with manic focus. Her son lets out a yawn as he looks outside. This draws her attention, and he scratches his left eyelid even as his head rests in his hand. She sighs and looks out to where a young woman is repairing a drone. Her grandfather drifts to the side in seeming exhaustion, and she sighs. "Perhaps we need some fresh air, grandfather?" she asks before giving her son a pointed look. "Don't go anywhere, we'll be back in a bit." The answer she gets is a sigh and a roll of the eyes, followed by a "Yes, Mom." "Hey, can you make sure my son doesn't do anything stupid? My grandfather needs to get walking again or he's going to pass out." She asks the waitress, who looks from her son to her, and then repeats the process before her eyes rest on the extremely old Tret man. "Why isn't he in dedicated care?" the waitress demands. "Because he hates his nurses. He wants to die around family." "Oh, I'm sorry," the waitress says suddenly, in a very awkward and uncertain position. "Thank you. I'll be back in a bit," she promises, and she half guides, half carries the decrepit-seeming old man out. A quick crossing of the street, a bit of a walk to the left, and passing the woman fixing the drone, and her grandfather gets her attention by loudly cracking his back and mumbling. One spy fails to notice she's been distracted by another spy to allow a third spy to plant a bug on her person and her equipment.